ourselves a video from light novel historian saying episode 5 leaves fans divided. I think the fans are divided at like episode 1 to 3 already, right? But I don't know anything specific about episode 5. I thought the Tracy episode was pretty straightforward, but hey, let's hear what he has to say.
Episode 5 of Lord of the Mysteries is out and the reactions are very divided. A lot of novel readers don't like it because it presents the story very differently from the books. Take this entire...
The novel readers, I don't think like the Donghua that much at all. This is my overall impression based off of reading some opinions too on people. And basically people are saying they are skipping out so much of essential character interactions and slice of life moments that makes you feel attached to these characters. And when you don't feel attached to these characters on an emotional level, when something big happens, and I think we all know what's gonna happen. In fact, they already showed it to us in the beginning of episode 1. Epic 5 happens. Shit's about to go down. I don't know exactly what, but it's looking like motherfuckers are gonna die. And when you are not attached on an emotional level to characters, when people start dying, it's very empty. That's just one component of it, but I think that's a big component. So alongside with all these missed character interactions and the fact that the pacing is way too fast and they are, instead of focusing onto the initial fandom that appreciates the slow burn, mysterious elements, right? There's a lot of different ways they could have approached Donghua. And I mentioned this in the Apocalypse Bringer Minogra comparison back on the tier list video. Go check out the tier list video if you want me to get more in-depth, opinions about these series. There's a different series happening right now, and it's called Apocalypse Bringer Minogra. If you don't know about that series, basically, for the first 3 episodes, they've done nothing. It's an exaggeration, but that nothing basically means they've taken their sweet-ass time fleshing out the world, just investing into character interactions. And even though nothing is happening, I appreciate the slow burn because I'm getting invested into Lord Takuto and, his association with, Atto, as well as his new people that he's taken in, the Dark Elf refugees. There's no crazy action happening. There's no jingling of the keys to keep, people paying attention. But here's the thing. That has a target audience, just like Lord of the Mysteries. And that target audience is glad that it's taking the slow route, and the viewership too. If we're talking about engagement and viewership, it's doing really, really well. And I'm kind of shocked. I'm shocked that it's like, holy shit. They've done pretty much nothing, but because they understand their target audience and give them that slow burn content, people appreciate it. And things are going well. Then here's Lord of the Mysteries. They try to hit the mainstream audience, which is an ambitious goal that I still think I'm a little, hindsight is 2020, right? I think it's still a good idea to try to capture the mainstream audience, but they try to go that mainstream route by having a really hype, fast-paced show that, has these fights and all these crazy flashy stuff going on that the initial original fandom, they don't really care that much about. They're in it for the slow burn and the mysteries, right? But instead, they try to appeal to the mainstream audience by having the event-based structures from episode 1 to 3. People were given this experience, and now here's the thing. Here's a really fucked up thing. The mainstream audience that they were trying to hit, they're confused. They're watching this shit, and even though you got the clown fight, even though you see all these flashy things, they're like, what the fuck is going on? So you, by trying to hit that mainstream audience and kind of forsaken the original intended audience, you fuck over both sides of the fandom. Isn't that a really interesting thing? Tencent straight up fucked up. I do. I think that the Donghua is still a very fun watch for me, and we'll wait until the very end to give a final rating. But I think that they absolutely failed in trying to captivate, the original fandom, as well as fucked over the mainstream fandom who were too confused because of the fast-paced, event-based structure. Blame Tencent for this. It's just sad. There's this notion called, you try to catch 2 rabbits at once and you're going to miss both. Or you try to cast the widest net possible in order to get everybody, you get nobody. Sometimes it's better to just focus on your intended target audience, give them what they want, instead of trying to do too much. I think Lord of the Mysteries, Season 1, is a perfect example of trying to do too much and trying to capture everybody that they didn't capture anyone. And I hope that the studios, I know that they're already working on future seasons. I hope that they are listening and hearing to the complaints of the audience, and international audience probably doesn't matter. I wonder what the I really wonder what the what's the word, the narrative is over on the Chinese side of things, because I would assume that they care more about domestic audiences' opinions rather than international audiences. But if the Chinese audience also has the same opinion, and also, the English dub came out, and I hear that many people are like, yeah, the English dub has solved all my problems. And people are like, damn, you motherfuckers really can't read. The Chinese, obviously, they can understand Chinese, so it might make a lot more sense to them. But I just wonder if there is a better way to look at what happened to season 1, just restructure the goals, and have a different vision in mind, so that the slow burn Lord of the Mysteries, the web novel vibes that people fuck with, is addressed in the anime. But we'll have to see, man.
Trissy situation, for example, all the information about these subplots are scattered like breadcrumbs across many different far apart chapters. However, the Donghua
that part too, I hear that so people are getting a little bit too ahead of themselves when they say, I can't believe they skipped this, I can't believe they skipped that. But it turns out they're reordering the operation, like order of operation. Like, these things happen that earlier on later gets shown later on. For example, the Susie and the dog, you know, the Beyonder stuff. Apparently, Susie stuff happened way earlier, but they showed it at the end of that one post-credit scene, right? And even on top of that, Susie being able to talk shouldn't have been a revelation immediately. But they showed it immediately. Apparently, according to the web novel readers, they're saying that, like, Susie dog stuff, that's handled later on as you get to see more of Audrey Hall's perspective and what she does in her, like, gated community of the upper class. And there's a bunch of funny stuff goes on, and Audrey's apparently talking about, oh, Susie, I wonder if I can bring Susie to the tarot card meeting. But hold up, dog can't talk. Later on, apparently Susie develops that ability. Now, is Susie being able to talk immediately being shown a bad thing or not? I think it was funny. I think it actually hit harder because it's like, boom, dog is a beyond, they're already talking, quick little fun scene. It's not a big deal. But these are just examples that I'm showing you that Cuttlefish, I think, is looking at the Donghua, looking at his web novel, and trying to see, can I reorder some events or package some of the events and put it in situations that is out of the order of operations compared to the web novel.
Ties all of these pieces together and serves it up like a fully baked cupcake that is packaged and easy to digest. So the Donghua's format is more like a classic TV criminal show where there are one episode length arcs and an overarching plot being subtly hinted in the background. Again, this is different than the novel where literally everything, every subplot is also hinted in the background. The problem is, I'm not even—
But here's the thing. A Donghua and a novel is fundamentally different sources of mediums. I think that if you've seen Oshinoko Season 2, you would understand this, right? Because what were we doing there? We were doing like some sort of 2.5D play, which is a fundamentally different experience from the manga. They were adapting a manga and making it into an IRL play. And of course, it's not going to be a one-to-one, and different mediums have different strong points. You should never expect every medium of entertainment, whether it be written form, whether it be visual like this, right, to be the same. So there is different strengths and weaknesses that a Donghua has over the web novel. And I wonder if they are utilizing their strengths to the fullest.
Sure if it's possible to make a book to anime one-to-one adaptation for LOTM, unless they have like 75 episodes where they cover every single piece of dialogue. There's definitely pros and cons to—
I think that season 1 should have been 2 cores. I don't think I'm crazy about this at all. I think that there is some nice balanced medium where instead of rushing 200 chapters in— And I had the same take about Classroom of the Elite as well. Classroom of the Elite people also say the same shit about, I can't believe they fucking rushed everything. They're cutting so much goddamn stuff and the anime is way too rushed. If they were able to do, but also, if you were to do a one-to-one like adaptation, that is also not a good idea, because I think at that point it would be way too, what's the word? There's too much volume. It's way too dense. It's not digestible at all. There is a nice compromise, right? There is a nice hybrid, and I think 2 core should have absolutely been season 1. Should have been 24 episodes, same episode duration, and taken a slower approach to captivate the intended original audience fandom that are glazing this shit, rather than trying to fucking get the key jingling, crayon eating skill issue people, because those people, again, you try to give them what you thought they wanted and see what happened. It's all over the mess. It's everything is a fucking disaster right now. It's not that bad. I'm making a bigger deal than it actually is, but I think that there is a way better thing that should have been handled. 2 cores. Yeah, Apothecary Diaries, perfect example too. Apothecary Diaries is an amazing example where they took slow burn, methodical. I think it's a perfect example because Apothecary Diaries, that is also a mystery show, albeit set in, different timeline China, but every episode is amazingly paced. Sometimes in season 2, I feel like things are a little bit too slow, but still, the OG fandom was there. It was able to hit that international appeal. People were just talking about this shit like this is the next coming of Christ during season 1, bro. I think if they did Apothecary Diaries season 1 format, 2 cores, take the slow burn, fully flesh it out, and give the people what they want, then people would appreciate it more.
To both formats, the Donghua strategy is, believe it or not, more digestible for new viewers. My advice is just to wait and see, because the Donghua is covering everything out of order. So by the end of the season, hopefully we get to everything. Remember, we still have 10.
Sure, I don't care about people saying episode 7 captured the essence of the novel. We're talking, also, isn't it episode 6? Episode 7 is not even out. Isn't it episode 6 today? Anyways, I think people are talking about the most recent episode that came out, right? Lord of the Mysteries episode 6. It doesn't matter if one episode captures the essence, because we're talking about the entire season. Oh, we're talking about Chinese release? Okay, so next week's episode for us is like the essence of the novel. But here's the thing. You are still 1 out of 7? Why not 7 out of 7? Why can't every episode be like that, right? If it's possible to capture the essence of the novel, then do that from the beginning. Don't just have one episode that can do it.
More episodes, because this entire season will be 15 episodes long. The perception I'm getting is that...
Go back. What did you just say?
Viewers, my advice is just to wait and see, because the Donghua is covering everything out of order. So by the end of the season, hopefully we get to everything. Remember, we still have...
Exactly. That's another thing too. I want to give my final judgment of this series until the very end. I really want to get... but at this point, I can't give this a 9 out of 10 like I wanted to. I really wanted to glaze this shit like Mushoku Tensei and ReZero. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the Donghua's experience right now is on ReZero's caliber. ReZero was, oh my god, what a fucking loss. That season 1 still chills. When I think about Arc 3 in season 1 and how that show was able to make me feel and get that fucking immersed, god damn, that was actual cinema. Right now, Lord of the Mysteries, it's an entertaining watch and I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's just, I can't put it on that caliber. In fact, I'm not even sure if I can put it into a fucking 8 right now. It's like a high 7, low 8. That's where I hope that I can put it into like a low 8, if not higher, by the end of the season. We'll have to wait and watch, okay?
10 more episodes, because this entire season will be 15 episodes long. The perception I'm getting is that most people understand what's going on, but there's still some small stuff.
Do most people understand what's going on, though? Do they? I mean, I think I kind of understand what's going on, but I think a lot more people are like, what the fuck is going on, right? Maybe the light novel fandom, sorry, not the light novel fandom, maybe the web novel fandom, right? If we're talking about like the overall, I think that a lot of people are very lost and they're like, I just don't get it.
That's confusing. Anyways, this new episode was my second or third favorite, all for more LTM news and explanation.
Personally, I don't think episode 5 was that bad, because this is talking about episode 5, the Trissy one. I thought the Trissy episode made just as much sense to me like episode 4 did. Here's the thing about Lord of the Mysteries. First of all, let's acknowledge that a different setting in a unique vibe is absolutely one of the deterrents of this show trying to reach to the mainstream audience or just like the anime audience, right? Something about and I think the Chinese dub absolutely hinders the digestion of this. You can say you can't read. I know, sure, they can't read. But it is still a fact that people are not able to process the Chinese dub because they speak too fast in a language that they're not familiar with and the subs are going a little bit too fast for them. Are there solutions to prevent that? Yes, there are. But the fact that many other shows don't need to have these alternative solutions like pausing shows that it is difficult, right? Let's just acknowledge that. Another thing about Lord of the Mysteries that I noticed, I was really thinking about this, is every episode felt like we're just kind of being thrown into a scene. with little to no connections between the next scene and the next scene. Do you know what I'm talking about? Every scene, I'm being thrown into an instance. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just going along with it. Oh, we're in a fucking carriage going somewhere. And then they explain it. Sure. We handle stuff. Boom. Cut to the next one. I'm like, whoa, what happened there? Oh, okay. We're just doing that. That happened a lot during episode 1 through 3, which I think threw a lot of people off. Right? It's not just one thing. I'm talking about many different components that add into why people watch this and feel like, I feel like I'm not, like, there is a way of doing storytelling that is a lot more immersive. For example, ReZero episode 1, I think was very immersive and made sense because the flow of the story from one scene to another was seamless, right? But in this show, it feels like we're just getting thrown out of a fucking helicopter every single scene. It's just like, boom, jump out, motherfucker. Here's on one scene. Next, boom, go to the next one. And it feels like every episode, every scene, I'm getting fucking pushed out of the carriage. Right? I'm in the carriage trying to watch something and immediately, boom, get the fuck out. Here's one thing happening right now. Go, boom, 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 happening. Next up, go to the next one. Boom, go there. It's a whoa, Jesus Christ. So I think all these factors come together and it's just really, really hard to digest. I absolutely acknowledge that there are issues. And listen, the whole drama with content creator stuff, that's a separate issue. The fans watching that don't make content, that simply want to watch, they're not beholden to try harder, okay? But as content creators, the video that I made, that's a whole different topic of, if we acknowledge that this show is hard to understand without pausing or doing other, homework, should you then go and try harder because it's your job? Again, we made that video, and I think a lot of people agree with my takes. Anyways, that's pretty much it from me. Please check out LMS Story on this channel. Here's a link to the video. Bang, 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 bang. Go give it a like, and I'll see you next time.